What's up everybody, Jesse here. Before we get started, I wanted to give a quick shout out to the sponsor of this podcast, T-Blocks. You may ask, what is T-Blocks? Well, T-Blocks is a unique t-shirt subscription service where you choose between an awesome licensed shirt or artist designed shirt delivered to your door every month. Prices start at just below $9, with a 12-month prepaid price that goes down to below $7 a month. Licensed shirts include designs from Disney, Marvel, DC, HBO, Game of Thrones, Breaking Bad, Naruto, Star Wars, and many more. My first shirt was an awesome, officially licensed Zelda shirt, which, as you all know, we focus on Zelda a lot on this channel. So if this is something you would be interested in, please subscribe to T-Blocks with the promo code JesseTBX for 10% off your entire order. Details and links to everything can be found in the description below. And with all of that out of the way, let's get started. The DLC Champions Ballad that everybody was expecting has already released. Now we already have a video on the channel detailing everything that is released with the Breath of the Wild Champions Ballad DLC. All of the masks, all of the armors, some of the new shrines, the quests, the dungeons, not to spoil too much, but we already have a video detailing everything and even gives a brief walkthrough on everything you need to do to complete it. The entire video is less than 10 minutes, so if you want to go check it out, please do. We worked very hard on it in a very short amount of time to get it out to you guys. So
you got that up really fast after the DLC uploaded. So,
but if you just want to know what's included in the DLC, go check out that video. This is actually going to be our review of the Breath of the Wild DLC, what we thought about it, what we expected from it, what we were depressed about. And I want to start off with a comment from Zaniac23. First off, Daniel, did you enjoy the DLC?
I loved it. I couldn't put it down.
Awesome.
So I did enjoy it. Did you, Jesse?
If I was to rate
enjoy
it,
the DLC?
Now,
Sorry, go ahead.
My expectations for the DLC, being the Zelda fanboy that I am, my expectations were like a 10 out of 10. So like my expectations was, and I had a video on this as well, which we both did, like our perfect DLC, if we could choose what was in there. Now, compared to what I thought would have been perfect, the DLC we got had a lot of things I wasn't expecting that was really great. It starts out amazing. Like the beginning of the DLC is purely amazing. But overall I would give it like maybe a 7 or an 8 out of 10 because it left me wanting more. But we both had great opinions on this. Zaniac, who commented on the video that I was talking about earlier, the overview of everything you can expect in the DLC, he has a different opinion. He says, more like the Ballad of Frustration. So far.
Whoa! Dude!
So far, this DLC is nothing more than reused content. The new one-hit obliterator shatters after you complete the 4 shrine trials, making it useless in-game, and all the costumes are nothing more than dress up for Link. Now, there are a few typos in this, so forgive us if the sentences don't sound quite right. He goes on to say, I hope, if done a 3rd DLC, they do something new, not to reuse assets. It took way too long to come out too. So,
okay. A few thoughts about that. So the reused assets, first of all, Nintendo is notorious for that. It's so that's nothing new. But I feel like the assets that they did reuse, which I'm guessing he means like all of the Sheikah shrines and things like that, kind of ties it thematically into everything else.
The biggest thing that I had a complaint about, I even posted about this on Twitter, was that aside from the main boss, the other 4 bosses are reused.
Yeah, they are. But you know what? I found the first time I fought those bosses, they were difficult for like not like super hard, but they were challenging. This time fighting them, they were very easy. I found just because I had full hearts and I had all the champion abilities at my disposal, and I was better at the game than I was the first time I fought them. So I found them very, very easy to beat. Except for the final boss. He was actually really fun. I really liked that one.
Yeah, see, one of the most common complaints about Breath of the Wild was that it, like, there wasn't much diversity. So everyone was hoping for, like, new bosses that weren't just different forms of Ganon. And then the bosses you do get are just, it's literally the same thing over again with a few limitations placed on the items and stuff that you can use. So I do understand getting upset about that. I was even a bit let down about that part because I was thinking this would be the perfect opportunity to, just like in Twilight Princess, the fire dungeon boss that you fight isn't that creative. It was just a giant possessed Goron, which would have been fine here as well. Like, to me, it would have made more sense if it was like a overwhelming Goron that.
Yeah,
like,
you know what? Actually,
like,
you got my brain going here. So, like, the 4 champions. What if they were the bosses of the Divine Beasts? In the same way that in, let's say, Majora's Mask, the 4 giants were actually the bosses of the temples, but corrupted, right? So what if the 4 champions got corrupted and they were the bosses of the Divine Beasts instead of the different forms of Ganon?
Like, after defeating Calamity Ganon, like, physically the Calamity isn't there anymore, but the spirit, like, took over and possessed the spirit.
Yeah.
That would have been perfect.
That would have been really cool. And, like, raise the stakes in that boss fight. Like, oh, this corrupted version of your former ally is now the enemy in this.
Yeah,
and you have to not only defeat them, but sort of liberate them, like, free them in the same way.
The dragons in Breath of the Wild are, like, they're not out to harm you. If you get close, they will attack you. But you're also attacking it, trying to get, like, shards of its horns and stuff. But it's not, they're not necessarily evil. It would be interesting in the same way that where they could be considered, you know, good dragons, they're just minding their own business, and the ice dragon gets some of the calamity, and then there is like a mini boss fight there. If it was something similar to where they were possessed in the same way by this calamity.
Yes,
because
exactly,
it does
like that.
take place before you defeat Ganon. So Calamity Ganon is still there.
Yeah. That would be really cool. But that's not the case.
Yes, and then as much... like, if they would have used the voice actors for some of the scenes, as much as the Ruto... I forgot his name. The champion Ruto hated Link.
Rivali.
Yeah, as much as Rivali hated Link, this could have added even more to that, to where, like, you know, Mipha, like, fighting her, there could have been some struggle, like, a dynamic between, like, after you get her health halfway down, she starts talking in a normal voice, like, why are you doing this? I love you, blah, blah, blah. Like, trying to make you feel bad for hurting her. But then whenever you get to Rivali, he just, like, 100% is out to kill you.
I just try and imagine trying to fight Daruk. He's huge. He's massive.
Well, that's why I was thinking about the Goron champion from Twilight Princess. I don't know if they referred to him as the champion.
Darbus.
Yeah.
He was, like, the chieftain.
Yeah, he was a massive Goron that was possessed by the evil Twilight thing in Breath of the Wild. So in the same way that he was possessed, like, it's something that Nintendo has done before. So it's not like a completely crazy new concept that they would never use. Like, they've literally done it.
Yeah, and like I said, in Majora's Mask, that's pretty much what the temple bosses are. They are the giants, but corrupted by the I forget what the items themselves are called, but pretty much those masks that
yeah. Are there other games to where you have to fight? Like, I know in a lot of the 2D games you have to fight like evil
Metroid
Zoras.
Prime 3. We're going back to the Prime games. Metroid Prime 3, for those who don't know, you're in like a team of bounty hunters that they're on a mission. The Dark Samus interrupts the mission, blasts everyone with this radiation called Phazon. Samus is knocked out. In that time she's knocked out, the other bounty hunters get corrupted, and they turn evil, and then they are the different bosses in the game. And then sort of when you defeat them, they have like a moment of, oh no, I'm okay now, you freed me. Oh no, actually I'm dead now, sorry. But yeah, so there's a few games where this sort of idea has been implemented and it's worked out pretty well. So
all right, but what about Zelda games though, to where like it is like you're just fighting a Deku, Azora, Rito, Goron. Like, I know there's the Goron from Twilight Princess. There's all the other Gorons that attack you while you try to make it up Death Mountain. There's the Yeti.
Twilight Princess, there's the
Yeti
boss
that turns
of the
boss.
Yeah, she becomes the boss. I think Twilight Princess is the best example of Zelda.
Is there any other games
like
goes? Skyward Sword doesn't really have any. Those are just like
Skyward Sword,
evil
you fight
creatures.
Girahim 20 times and then the imprison 20 more times. That's it.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. Actually, Skyward Sword has some of the best boss fights, but
3 for each.
Three for each, and then
Demise.
But then there's some other ones that are really good.
Yeah.
Okay, more to this guy's comment. I agree what he's saying about the new costumes. I like them a lot, but the problem is, and this was the problem with the first DLC as well, you can't upgrade them. So like the Royal Guard's armor in the new DLC, or the Phantom armor in the first one, you cannot enhance them at the Great Fairies Fountain. And so like I got them and I'm like, okay, but why would I use this? Because my champion's tunic is way better.
Oh, here's something else. There are 107 pieces of armor altogether. Masks, tunics, everything. There's 107. But the game only allows you 100 slots for your armor.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, get rid of the old clothes and the old trousers that you start with. So there's 2 down.
Like, I wouldn't get rid of any of the DLC stuff because you wouldn't be able to get it again.
Oh,
but
ditch like some of the circlets, like the headbands.
Yeah.
If I had to like choose to get rid of them,
buy.
Yeah, that you could replace, or there's an alternative too. So like you could use the ruby circlet for cold resistance, or you could use the snow quill headdress for the same effect.
Yeah.
So whichever one you upgrade more, or if you go with the snow quill headdress, you get the set bonus. So that might be a better option, right?
Yeah, and then some of the amiibo armor you can just keep tapping in to get more. So, so I thought that was odd. Like, I think Nintendo like expect a quick update in like a week or 2. I would say.
Yeah, that makes it difficult because then, as someone who's a bit of a completionist, or if you are literally the completionist, Gerard Khalil, that's gonna annoy the heck out of him, and it's really like it's making me wonder what armor I'm missing, because I know I'm short 2 of the champion amiibo helmets, just because I've been scanning them and they haven't popped up. But otherwise I'm like, what else am I missing?
Yeah.
If I haven't got got everything except for the old trousers and the old shirt. I got rid of those. I sold them. I don't want these.
All right, but just a moment ago, you were going back to something that he said in the comment.
Yes. So he talked about the costumes are nothing more than dress up for Link. Why can't you upgrade these costumes? Because like I really like the look of the Royal Guard's armor, but the soldier's armor that you can upgrade is way better because you can actually upgrade it. The Phantom armor looks really cool, but you can't upgrade it. So these these new costumes and stuff are really cool looking, but they're useless when your champion's tunic is like infinitely better. Or not infinitely, but like 8 times better.
Yeah.
You know? So I see his point there. I agree with that point. That I'm not, like, I like it collecting them. I find that part fun. But like, they're useless.
Yeah. Most of the time, I stay with like the Twilight Princess or Ocarina of Time tunics. And then...
But you can upgrade those.
Yeah, and I like so going to the champion's tunic, like wearing the outfit that he has in all of the promotional work. Yeah. Or the past
plus
cutscenes.
The amber earrings because of that armor bonus.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, same, because they're those items, they look good. They're cool Zelda items, and again, you can upgrade them. You can enhance them to be really good.
Yeah. And then with the other armor, it's like it would be interesting if either you could upgrade them or they came with a high set bonus. So like,
or a unique function, like Majora's Mask is like a camouflage almost function where enemies don't pay attention to you.
But
or
it only
the
has
Korok
one.
mask. True. But the Korok mask, for example, has a very unique function that's very useful. But these new ones, they don't really have that same functionality.
See, what would have been interesting, and this would have taken a lot of programming, but to where the bokoblins and everything are basically following Ganon. If you wore the Phantom Ganon, like the complete outfit, if when you attacked a bokoblin or a weaker enemy, if they followed you, it became kind of like Wolf Link.
Oh, and then they started like helping you in battle then.
Yeah, they became your little side characters or whatever.
That would be neat.
But then like where you have to attack them in order to do it, to like take control of them or have them on your side.
Or I feel like could be some other functions like whistling at them to call them over or something, you know?
And then like seeing them trying to take on a Lionel or whatever, because the enemies
bring a horde of bokoblins.
Yeah, like the enemies in Breath of the Wild are already programmed to attack each other. Like you'll see one of the larger enemies, like the Moblins or whatever, Stalfos. They'll pick up a bokoblin and throw them at you.
Yeah.
Or if there's a guardian next to another enemy, it'll lock on to not just you, but the other enemy as well.
Yeah. There's actually a really great video. I think it's a Dorkly. I don't know if you followed that channel. But they did a really hilarious video where they tried to lure as many giant enemies in Breath of the Wild into fighting each other as they could. So they got a Hinox and a Guardian fighting each other. I think they just basically dragged a Guardian around and had it fight a bunch of stuff. So that Guardian killed a Hinox for them. It couldn't kill a Stone Talus because it couldn't hit its weak spot. So the Stone Talus beat the Guardian. They got a Guardian to fight Molduga. I think Molduga won. But they just were pitting all these giant enemies against each other.
Yeah.
Let's go. After you're done listening to this podcast, go watch that video, guys, because it's hilarious. The only thing funnier than that is getting a chicken to fight your enemies for you.
Yeah. Oh, you mentioned Molduga. Another great thing about it is, and it in a way was reusing the same thing. Some of the trials you have to complete to get to the Dream World versions of Calamity Ganon. You have to kill like a giant Stone Talus. You have to kill like a giant Molduga.
Yeah.
So
those are fun.
That's interesting. That's different from some of the others. So I like those. But like you kill those in order to fight, in my opinion, the boring boss. To where like if it was the possessed champions, and then with it being called the Champions Ballad, like you have it even more focused on the champions. So,
yeah, that would be cool.
Why don't you work for Nintendo, Daniel? This is a perfect idea.
Well, because I'm not a game designer, I'm just an enthusiast. So finally,
he says, I hope if done a third DLC, they do something new, not reuse assets. It took way too long to come out too. I have low expectations that they will come out with a third or fourth DLC, a second season pass, but with, like, I end the video where I was, the overview of the DLC, I end it with, at the Game Awards, Zelda won 3 different awards. Best action-adventure game, best direction, I believe, and Game of the Year. So it won 3 awards. It sold really well. The DLC, aside from this person's comment, has on average been very positive. Some people think it's okay, and then there are the few who don't like it, but mostly positive. So with the game selling so well, winning 3 different awards, not just winning 3 different awards, but tying for winning the most awards at this year's Game Awards, on top of being nominated for the most awards. So, with all of that, with it selling so well, with the DLC being so well liked, you would think that would be enough for Nintendo to say, okay, maybe we should put like another year into DLC or another 6 months and come up with something new, because it does leave you with 2 heart pieces left to get. If you have your stamina maxed out and you have all of your hearts, you're going to have 2 heart containers left. Yeah. So,
or if you're like me and you would rather have all your hearts maxed out because it would bother me just to look at it if it didn't, then I'm short 2/3 of a stamina wheel.
Yeah. And Nintendo did say once upon a time, back in July, whenever they first showed off the trailer for, or like the little beta footage for the DLC, Aonuma did say it was post-game.
Yeah, but it's not really, because it is before you defeat Ganon.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying, is maybe they were working on something that was post-game, and then they scaled it back and just made it pre-Ganon. So then, like, they continue working on whatever it was that Aonuma said was post-game, and then that becomes DLC 3.
Oh, that'd be cool. I will say, I did like that at least they did give you 4 more spirit orbs, so you could do 1 more upgrade. I did like that.
But then, like, you get to all of the, like, you go to each of the 4 areas, and there are the 3 different shrines that you have to get to in that area. In my head, I was like, oh, this is cool. Each area has 3 more places. That's going to add up to, like, 3 total sets of spirit orbs. Because the 4 times 3, you'd have 12. That would be enough for, like, 3 sets. So you'd be able to upgrade something 3 times. But then it turns out you just you don't get spirit orbs. You get like something emblems, like the champion emblems. And I'm like, that seems like a bit of a waste. Like,
it was a bit of a letdown.
You're just giving us like, oh, now
here's your plot MacGuffin.
Urbosa's fury restores faster, and then it's like, but isn't that what the helmets do? Like,
that's not what the helmets do, though. They give you resistance bonuses.
I thought the helmets helped the abilities restore faster.
No, I wish they did. That would be really cool. But no, they give you, so it's like shock resistance, flame break, cold resistance, and swim speed.
Okay.
Are the different upgrades.
Yeah. But even that's weird, because it's like you get the swim speed up for wearing the Guardian thing. But then it's like, if you want swim resistance, you're just going to put on the Zora armor.
Yes.
Like,
especially because then you could use the set.
Yeah, and then you get even faster. But anyways.
Yeah.
To end it with...
I know.
I did like, as you mentioned, the final boss was great. And then the motorcycle, the ancient cycle, or whatever it's called, is really cool.
Master cycle.
Yeah, but it's like everyone's sitting in a room, and then you have this game that has like a Lord of the Rings type setting, but there is this ancient technology, and they're like, okay, what would be an interesting like bonus for completing the game, completing the DLC? And then everyone's like naming, oh, we should do a hook shot, like we'll talk about next. Someone's like, oh, we should allow Link to like do whatever, like whatever the different things are. Everyone comes up with their ideas.
Jetpack.
and then someone's like, oh, Link should have a motorcycle.
His Mario Kart 8 motorcycle.
Yeah, and then it's like, what? Like, what?
I don't know. I like it. It does make sense because we have all these we've got these giant laser robots, and the Divine Beasts are basically giant machines.
It does make sense. So, but like in my head, I was thinking like you have this medieval setting, and then Link's on a motorcycle, and it's like, yeah, it seems like one of the most out there things. But then the whole game you're carrying around a magical tablet, so
yeah, that's true. My thoughts on the Master Cycle, since we're on the topic, I thought it was really fun. Like, I actually just spent some time just driving around Hyrule when I could have easily warped, just because I was finding the Master Cycle so much fun. But Epona is totally faster. That was one of the first things I noticed. Like, this is super fun, but my horse is actually faster than this.
Yeah.
I have my horse that I use is Epona from the that I got scanning the Smash Bros. Link amiibo, but
yeah, and with the
saddle, I
think
that's the best horse.
With the saddle and everything, Epona can like get extra like boosts.
Yeah, you can warp her.
Yeah. Kind of like Wolf Link.
But it's still really cool, and like you can jump with it and stuff, and just riding into battle towards a Guardian with it is just like super melodramatic but super fun. But yeah, like I was thinking, it's cool that I don't have to go to a stable. Like I don't have to go through that inconvenience of like going to the stable, taking the horse out, and then boarding the horse back up when I'm done. But like, it's supposed to be a motorcycle. It's supposed to be like roaring fast, and my horse is totally faster than this thing. So it's some mixed feelings there. What are your thoughts, Jesse? Did you have fun with the Master Cycle?
The Master Cycle is great. It sticks out a little too much for me, but it is fun. I think they went for, they've already beaten all of the games, they've already beaten all of the DLC. What's something that could add, like what's something that could make the game more fun? Yeah. For them to come back to. Not necessarily something like what would make the most sense, what would fit in the most. What they just looked at it as what would be the most fun. And riding a motorcycle around Hyrule, like it's definitely one of the most fun. Yeah,
it's just kind of weird that no one bats an eye at it. If you like ride through a village or ride past travelers, they just don't. They're not like, what the heck is that thing? They just don't even. They don't even acknowledge it.
So to end this on the DLC, a third DLC, yes or no? Do you think they're going to be?
I don't know. Well, I think in a few months maybe they'll throw in a surprise announcement, but other than that, maybe just a few more tiny side quest updates like the Xenoblade ones. Yeah. But yeah, I wouldn't hold out for a huge DLC like this one.
The videos on this channel are funded by supporters on Patreon like you. If you're a fan of this channel and would like to join on videos, receive shoutouts, watch videos early, have your questions answered, or have your topic discussed on our podcast, please consider supporting on Patreon for these and many other rewards for just $1. Shoutouts for this video includes Link Use the Triforce, Rusty Caulfield, Lovable Christie, Give Time 15, Shadow to Us, Robbie Morgan, and Lunarium. I want to thank all of you for everything you have done to help support this channel.